Yeah, I think especially with Tampa and with Kucherov, a lot of times when they have these wide entries that he's going to pull up and look for a guy wide. So I think one thing is I could even have a little less depth, just because knowing him and pre-scouting, a lot is coming cross ice. So even pulling up depth a bit, but pulling back the depth a bit, but yeah. Honestly, it may have caught me a bit of surprise. I don't think I don't know if it's the way we're supposed to do this video is correct myself, but
but that's okay.
Yeah,
it's not a perfect game.
Yeah. I think the important thing is with those guys that have the wide entries is not getting caught too far out and having a good awareness on the backside, and being aware of where the danger is, because he's not scoring from the boards. You don't have to be way out. You cut the depth a bit, and I actually like how I drift back a little bit more and have the backflow into the trailer.
And as much as maybe he catches you by surprise, you still get rotation and come over on your skates. Are there elements as you play catch up a little bit here that you like?
Yeah, I think it's good getting there on my feet, and I kind of do what do you call it, lateral release into the save, which was I like there. Nice and calm. I think maybe earlier in my career that would have been a slide. I think it's nice just being able to get there on your feet, and allows you to play a little bit calmer.
Okay, so this isn't part of the save, and there's no second save opportunity, but I think I let this run a little longer because after the save, you're into your post, and then there's just no hesitation into your next position as the play goes behind the net. And there were two elements. One, just the effective use of having that anchor leg and the rudder, and then you almost steer yourself into a double seal, which frankly makes me jealous and hurts my hips a little. But, I mean, something that I've seen throughout these clips in your game that just looks really clean.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think the big thing with that is something we work a lot on, is when you are going post to post, a lot of the times I like the seal that you get with toe tie.
Okay.
On the post, but you can see I kind of go from the toe tie to the skate, and I do the transfer skate, and then I'll go back into the toe tie a few wraps.
Okay.
It's a subtle move. I think picked it up from probably Bobrovsky a couple of years ago, but it's something I've worked more and more on, because the transfer when you have your skate on is much quicker, but you still have that hole. So I think if you can, blend them and get the best of both worlds. Another guy that does it well is Thatch.
Right. American Goalie Union.
Yeah. I think that's an important move if you can get good at it.
Now, is that something you've added, or just continued to evolve a little bit, like that little, or that transition always been part of it? And I've got a few more clips.
Yeah. I think it's evolved. Something I practice a lot. We talked earlier about the simple and the basic moves, and in order to play at a high level and a high speed, you have to be really good at the basic things to where they're second nature. I think whenever this is my first time actually playing Washington, but obviously you're aware of him, and especially on the power play, where he's going to be, the great player that he is with his shot. So I think in the back of my mind, I'm always aware of where he is. It's there's no surprise where he's going to be type of thing. So it's always being in a good position to move, and as much as I can, try to get there on my feet and try to get there under control to give me a better chance of making the save. As soon as you start to get scrambly and move around, and if I get there late and I have to be looking around a screen or something because I'm late, he's gonna score. He's a good enough player. Where
is this part of what makes it so hard too? Like coming downhill, looks to be loading up a shot. There's other threats on this.
Yeah, who is that? Is that Backstrom? Or, I don't even know.
That's what
I'm bad with the hands on the sticks.
I don't know if that's.
I'm not sure.
It's not Osh, is it? But he's net front.
It's a really good play, probably, right? Being able to disguise that. There might be Kuznetsov. Right? Yeah, it's a really good play, right? He's low, and you have to honor that. There's two players in front that he might shoot. So for me, it's just getting there and regaining my feet and getting the side of the puck as quickly as I can.
Now, the decision to regain your feet is that you see where he catches it, and that's.
Yeah, I think the most important thing as a goalie is your eyes, right? And if you're playing in your eyes, then your body just follows. And if I see that he isn't going to one time that, and I see I have time, then I know I have time to get up. If I see he's winding up as I'm looking, then I know I'll have to slide through it. Okay. Eyes save you a lot in the net.
Yeah,
I would say.
Okay, so and then this point, like again, arguably the greatest goal scorer of all time, loading up just above the dot, and yet you don't attack him. Is that just awareness of the other options? Yeah,
definitely. Being in the periphery, you see two guys at the net front waiting to go back door. So it's it's a bit of a play, a decision you have to make. You can charge out at him and then you leave the back door. You can play on the goal line, but then he probably picks you. So I think you have to kind of play middle ground on both, and as much as you can, try to keep the backside guys in front of you. But then at the same time, I have to honor that he's the best goal scorer in the history of the NHL. So I like my depth. I'd even say a bit flat-footed. In an absolute perfect world, maybe I have a bit more depth and I can have a little backflow into it, so I'm not getting stuck as he's putting it back door. Stuff happens so fast. It's easy to say, in a perfect world, this is what I would do, but
it's not a perfect world you live in out there.
But because they're in front of me, even though I get a little stuck and I don't slide into it as much, I end up making the save, right? Where if I was at the top of the crease, that would have been a tap in.
Right. Okay. Give yourself a chance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then in a scramble, like just seal and I've noticed a little paddle down too in your game in these situations. Does that just protect the 5-hole while moving, or?
Yeah. It's just I can't say I think about it too much in those situations. When it gets scrambled, I think you just have to try to stay as calm as you can and find the puck. And sometimes paddle down can be a bit overkill.
Right.
Like to maybe see myself with a bit better posture.
I'm guessing that's when you start to look for information.
Yep. This is where I recommit. And then you gotta see your D-men. How are they playing this? They've kind of both committed to the middle. So now I don't have to take that extra foot of ice in the crease, although I would argue is not horrible thing to do, because NHL, if you got to have good feet, and if you have good feet, you can get over to either one of those. But not once has he locked himself into a shooting position. So now it's just which direction is he going, and the puck's on his forehand. If he were to try to make a backhand pass now, his process would give me time to readjust my angles and all that. So at this point, it's got to go forehand pass.
You like your position here? I mean, you talk about patience and holding edges and feet. Like that's right into the hash marks, and you haven't hedged one way or the other ever. So, and not even slightly, it looks like.
Yeah, but you can see I'm not at the top of the crease where I like to be. So I might not be moving at all, but I've already made that adjustment because I've seen my D-men kind of closing on the middle guy. So I never took that extra foot of ice.
Gotcha.
I kind of settled in.
Right. So you're not cheating to either side, but you're giving up ice knowing it could go to either side.
Yeah.
Okay. And same kind of thing, head around and just get your head on it. Are you, as it comes through, like it comes through your defenseman, you can't see that pass the whole way. Are you just looking for when you try and pick it up on the other side of that pass, Connor, what are you looking for? Stick blade? What type of information?
I'm just looking for anything that indicates the puck is moving or gone.
This is a good positional one.
Okay.
I think a big part of reading the play is your positioning, your depth. So right here, I think is a really good one where the puck is worked around the outside for the most part, and you never see me get too aggressive. Again, with that stance, that high stance, when it's up in the zone like that, just makes for a lot more mobility. Like this move right here from high to a save stance, because you see Nate winding up here.
Yeah,
it's just like all in one move, and it's smooth, and there it is. Kind of in the blink of an eye. You're there, and I like how I'm not too deep here either. He's way outside the dot, So a shooter like him, he's dangerous even from there.
Okay.
But with a little bit of size like I have, you can get away with playing a little bit deeper on these plays. Because that guy, I hope I was reading that this guy in front is a threat because he's by himself and there's not really a stick in the area. And because Nate is not in the best scoring position, a lot of times guys will look for a different play because they may not feel confident they can score clean from there.
Right. Might be a
so
different play if he's at the dot taking this pass.
Yeah, if he's at the dot or inside the dot, I don't think you can really worry about the guy back door because he's going to rip that with a good angle and close to the net. But where he is here, you're able to play a little bit deeper and a little bit, more upright stance and try to be a little bit more patient. I don't love my patience here. I kind of did bite on the fake, but because I was deeper and had a skate on the post, or I don't even know if he was trying to pass this or not.
I was just going to say, when I originally clipped this, I was like, I can't believe this pass. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, this might have just fluttered off the toe a bit.
Yeah. And that happens too. So, that's something that you got to be prepared for. So I think, I did kind of go down as if he were shooting it because it looks like he was trying to rip it.
Yeah.
But still, I think what saves me here is that I'm not too aggressive. And the fact that I have a foot on the post, is the only reason I make this save. If I'm out and I don't have a foot on the post, then he just lets this go around my pad and taps it into an empty net.
Right. Plus it gives you an anchor to push off of, but look, like you get good rotation down into this too.
Yeah, like I get pretty good coverage there with the pad and the glove. So I don't think that ever really had a chance of going in the net. I was kind of right on top of it. But again, that only happens because I had a foot on the post. So anytime that you can kind of play a little bit deeper on plays like that, when it's way out on the perimeter, I think is a huge advantage because this stuff, especially in the NHL nowadays, this stuff happens a lot more now where guys look for backdoor and off net type of stuff because, us goalies are doing a pretty good job nowadays of stopping clean shots. So a lot of times guys, especially from this angle, so guys look for this a lot more. So you want to be a little bit deeper when you can get away with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the transition from stances, and then another phrase I'm sure you've heard from Curtis is hand in support. Like you said, that if you just stick a leg out, maybe he's got a chance to ramp it up because he tries. But the fact you build that coverage over top with the glove, like there really is no space for that puck to go.
Yeah,